Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, as promised, I'm going to be talking about turn meter, one of the most complicated mechanics in Raid Shadow Legends. I'll be honest, guys, I don't even 100% understand it myself, but hopefully I can give you enough of an insight into a bunch of the hidden mechanics, because a lot of them are hidden, that are affecting things and making things kind of weird. The reason I'm making this video, the reason it's really come to the forefront at the moment, is because of the current fusion Kroz Wallbreaker, who currently has an A2 that reads like this. Fills the champion's turn meter by 25% for each enemy with a bomb debuff. He can reduce bomb detonations on his A3, and clearly the way it's intended to read, what you think should happen when you look at this champion is he places bombs, in this case on 5 enemies. He should get more than enough turn meter to go next and then reduce the detonation countdown. But if I click play on this is from my Kroz showcase, you'll see what actually happens is he's going to place bombs on 5 enemies, but then in fact multiple enemies will take a turn. So my stock will take a turn, and then you're going to see that our base will take a turn, Glaked, Isla will take a turn, Quilcha will take a turn. We're going to A1 the Elva with stock, which actually you can see decreases her turn meter, so she doesn't take a turn. But you can see, by the time stock has got around to his second turn, not only has he not gone immediately, which it seems like he should, but in fact we can see the enemy team have taken several turns, lots of champions have taken turns, and in this case our base is almost up to another turn entirely. They're Glaked as well. You can see he's almost up to an entire other turn as well. And in this situation, if it weren't for the fact that we had AoE frozen them with a Gurgo, this is Faction Wars Hard Stage 21, by the way. If Elva had not been frozen, and if stock had not pushed her turn meter back, she would have taken a turn and she would have removed all those bombs before Kroz could ever blow them up. What is going on? How the heck is this even happening? Is it a bug? What's going on? Let's explain. There we go. So we've set up the situation. So first up, if I was to ask you, let's say your dad walked into the room and was like, "What you playing there, son? What, wasting your life on another video game? Gosh darn it." He'd be like, "Well, at least tell me how this life wasting thing works, eh?" You'd be like, "Okay, well, it's a turn-based game, and basically the way it works, I think explaining it to a beginner, like at a simple level, you'd say something like this. Well, turn meter fills based on your speed, and when you reach 100% turn meter, you take a turn. And, you know, there's different champions with different speeds. So, for example, let's say a big tanky champion, like Ultimate Death Knight, very slow, big armored guy, he's very slow speed. He's not going to take turns very quickly, whereas someone with high speed, like let's say the obviously speedy, gigantic fat armored woman Ursaga with 108 base speed. Okay, sometimes it's usually speed is intuitive. Sometimes champions have weirdly high speed, but you know, a really fast champion, let's say Freya is really fast. She's gonna take turns much quicker than Ultimate Death Knight would, and slightly faster than the obviously probably equally fit Ursaga does. Yeah, you say that a relatively simple level, right? The more speed you've got, and there's a couple of ways to boost speed, like there's champions that can increase speed buffs on the team or increase turn meter, but you basically, your goal is to get the full turn meter and then you take a turn, right? That's kind of this simple enough explanation, and I can actually show you another game that does do this. So if we jump over here, I like, by the way, searching YouTube for my own video, but like this here is Dragonair. Silent, I don't even know what it's called anymore. They renamed the game somewhere. But you can see in this game, the turn meter slowly increases. When someone gets full turn meter, it actually pauses the entire game. They use their move, then the game unpauses and it continues. So in this case, it's very simple. We can see number 1 slowly increasing. Pause the game, use the turn. Here we go. She's about to get her turn. Pauses, does a cool animation, and then unpauses and continues, and stuff basically happens essentially slowly and steadily. They only do it if there's enemies. But yeah, I don't know exactly the behind the scenes details of Dragonair. Maybe it's more complicated, but broadly speaking, it seems to be like this, right? The quicker champions, I think in that game it's called like Spell Haste or something. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But they're going to fill up their bar a bit quicker based off how fast they are. When it gets to 100%, it pauses the game, they take a turn. Now, in Raid Shadow Legends, that is not what happens. Evidently so. Not quite for Raid. Not quite for Raid. because there are two massive things that are happening behind the scenes. The game doesn't really explain to you, but will make sense when we think about it here. And like when we go through some examples, you'll be like, oh yeah, it does work like that. Couple of things where it does not work like Dragonair. So number one, turn meter, unlike Dragonair, doesn't steadily fill like a slowly loading progress bar. Turn meter, let me go back a little bit here, and you can see turn meter, when people start taking turns, it fills in chunks. And this is based off a tick system in the game. It's not slow and steady, as you can see right there. Turn meter fills in chunks. And then also, turn meter can go way far above 100%. You can go far above 100% turn meter, which is exactly what's happening in this situation here. We've got multiple champions with 100% turn meter. They're all actually far above 100% turn meter. And yeah, basically the order they're taking turns is based on how far above 100% they are. It does not display this in game. So number one, the game doesn't display all the ticks. In this case, we can actually see here, for example, I'll break down what ticks are exactly. In this case, you're going to see multiple, basically every tick happening in a row because everyone's at 100% turn meter. But if everyone is like low on turn meter, it's going to skip all the ticks from the player perspective until it gets to a tick where someone has enough turn meter to go. But here we can see, you're going to see, like if we look at Gurgo, for example, when Stock takes his turn, basically as everyone takes a turn, a tick is going to happen, a chunk is going to fill. And yeah, you can see all these champions are going above 100% turn meter. Again, in this situation, Gurgo actually has 100% turn meter, but we've got far, I don't know how much turn meter he has. He might have 105%, 110%. We just don't know, but Kroz has far more. I think a simple little fix, and might be nice for the game, would be to actually display maybe a green colored bar or something. That would, well, maybe not green because this is green. Maybe display a purple bar, I don't know, or like an extra gold bar or something to show just how far above 100% turn meter players are. It also could be interesting to display every tick in the game. Anyway, let's break it down into more detail. So here's some examples just to show you how this works with turn meter going far above 100%. So obviously enough, in this case, we've seen Kroz. He's gaining 100%. Maybe it's 125%. Right? Because he gets 25% per enemies with bombs. There were 5 enemies with bombs. Is he getting 125%? Maybe he is. It's hard to know because, again, we've got no visual indicator as to what's happening. And we've got clearly multiple champions at or above 100%, but we don't know exactly where they are. So yeah, it's quite possible he is getting 125% turn meter, but just all these other champions have more than 125%. I think that's kind of unlikely. I suspect he's only getting 100%. But anyway, that's a little bit more complicated. Let's keep going here. I think another very good example of this that you'll know very intuitively, again, is, Wukong. He's probably one of the most common champions in the game because people get him from a promo code. He revives with 100% turn meter. Does he get a turn straight away when he revives? Not always. You can have champions with more than 100% turn meter who are going to go before him. And sometimes you can have multiple champions taking a turn before he gets to go. So yeah, that's basically a couple of examples to show it. And again, in this situation, so specifically here with the Kroz example, there we go. We could see that Stock, Arbase, Glaykid, Quilcha, and Ilo. We had 5 champions take turns first, which is 5 ticks. Elva missed one because the A1, as I explained already. So what are these ticks? What is going on? This is basically how the game actually works, right? So a tick is how the game works. It's how stuff actually happens. And every tick happens. It will go tick 1, tick 2, tick 3, tick 4, but it won't show you all of them. It only shows you the ticks where someone takes a turn. You take a turn when someone has more than 100% turn meter. So let's say we reach tick 4 of the game. Someone has 100% turn meter. The game will pause on tick 4. They'll take their turn, and then the game moves on to tick 5. If someone's ready to go, it will again pause the game, and so on. The character with the highest turn meter will always take the turn. So again, we come back to the example that I had up here, where you have lots of champions with over 100% turn meter. It pauses on the tick and it picks whoever has the highest. So I don't know. Here, Kroz might have 200% turn meter. Who the heck knows how much he has? But he's going to take the turn over the others that have full turn meters, and then they're going to have to wait for the next tick to take their turn. There's a minimum of, this is very important, that there is a minimum of 1 tick between character turns, even if multiple champions have 100% turn meter, which is again how we could see all these it's basically why in this situation Kroz goes to 100% turn meter, and in this time Gergo is going to get all this turn meters, because as everyone's taking a turn, it's going through the different ticks, and everyone's getting turn meter based off their ticks. I've realized I've ordered this breakdown in a slightly unintuitive way, because this is probably the key fact that you need to know. And this is basically what speed does, is the game goes through tick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes through all the ticks like a clock. It's just ticking around the clock, and every tick it's giving people turn meter. The turn meter that you gain is based on your speed. So that's basically how it works. And I think the approximate numbers are, for every 100 100 speed should equal about 6.5% turn meter for every tick. So if you've got 200 speed, you should be getting about 13%. Roughly like that. Again, I'm not 100% sure about the numbers. It's all very cloak and dagger, very hush-hush, behind the scenes, not broken down exactly precisely. But I think that this is, from what I was able to find, this is roughly what it is. So again, on tick 1, everyone's getting turn meter. So if I give you some examples, okay, back to Kroz. Okay, I think we've seen. I don't know. I didn't finish this one. I didn't finish this point. Doesn't really matter. But let's jump over here. So for some examples, let's say we jump into the game. I could show you this in a quick arena fight, so you get an idea. Doesn't really matter what fight we do. Here we go. But my Lazarius, he has 437 speed, and he's going to be getting an extra 25% of 115 speed from his speed aura, and so on. My Fabian has 400 speed, and he also has a supersonic set, so he'll gain turn meter when the enemies get buffs. But if we jump in, so again, the game is not going to visually display the first few ticks of the fight to you. It's going to skip over those until, I'll put it to 1 time speed till someone takes a turn. So here we go. And there we go. He gets the turn. At this point in the fight, we can see my Lazarius has taken a turn. Arbiter has at least 100% turn meter. She could have way more. My Fabian also has 100% turn meter. He could have way more. Here we go. I mean, I guess I could just A1 him. It doesn't really matter. And there we go. His Arbiter took a turn. Right? She was at 100% turn meter. And what I want you to you can replay it if you want here. When she took a turn, a tick happened. We progressed. So in this situation, let's say I rounded up to Lazarius to 500 speed. He doesn't have quite that much, but you could easily go above 500 speed in the game now, by the way. You could easily be way higher. The top speed these days is ludicrous. That would be approximately 32.5% turn meter per tick. So when the battle begins for the player, the battle actually begins on tick 1, tick 2, tick 3, tick 4. But for us, for the player, it actually is beginning, let's say, on tick 4, which is where Lazarius had hit 130% turn meter. On tick 3, he would be ever so slightly short, so it wouldn't quite work. And indeed, there are some implications to this, where reaching certain turn meter thresholds, certain speed thresholds, can have a massive impact. This was actually extremely important back in the day for speed tuning Demon Lord Clan Boss. I think these days it could potentially have a large impact actually for hitting certain speed thresholds, but it's probably not quite as important. And certainly to the average player, I'd say it's not as important, because there's so many things affecting turn meter these days, and speeds and all of that, and so much craziness going on in the game, that it's not typically worth planning for. But yeah, we could potentially, if I got him, like, again, on tick 3, he's at 3 times, he's almost at 99% turn meter. He's at what, 97.5 off the top of my head? I think, yeah, 97.5 turn meter. If I built him with like 520 speed, maybe the battle could actually begin on tick 3, and that could be a pretty big advantage to me. Yeah, as you saw, he took his turn. Then the Arbiter took her turn. One tick passed. Ninja, everyone gained some turn meter. Fabian was still sitting at well over 100%. Then Fabian is going next. And again, another tick has passed for him to take his turn. So Lazarius took his turn on tick 4, maybe in this case, because he's not actually 500 feet. Maybe it was actually tick 5. It was probably actually tick 5 in this case. Arbiter went on tick 6. On tick 7, Fabian is gone. And here's the thing. Big implication for this is a lot of turn meter is actually being wasted. When Lazarius took his turn, Fabian had enough turn meter to take a turn, but he's delayed several ticks in the fight because Arbiter had more overfill turn meter than he did. She's taking a turn. When he takes a turn, everyone else is catching up a little bit. So yeah, it's pretty complicated. So for example here, I said, let's say hypothetically, imagine my Fabian was at 450 speed. Now in this case, he's actually, I don't know, what is he? He's probably 420 something. It doesn't really matter. But this in that case would have been, imagining his 450 speed, it would have been 29.25 turn meter per tick. So on tick 4, when Lazarius took his turn, he was also ready to go. But in this case, let's say I open with my Lazarius turn meter boost. He would have actually then, in fact, let's actually redo it so we can see. So the example is a bit more clear. So he's pretty fast. He's got a 6-star intimidating presence Arbiter. So this guy's also clearly pretty fast, yeah. We come in here just to be a bit more accurate. Again, we come in. The fight actually begins on whatever tick it happens to be. This time, I'm going to use my A3, which is going to give everyone turn meter. This time, Fabian is faster. His Arbiter, when Fabian takes a turn, I don't know if she went below 100% there. Maybe. I wasn't paying enough attention. But obviously, she's now got a tick when Fabian's taken a turn. You see, Kaimar is now ready to go. So is, it looks like maybe, is Marius? No, Marius is ready. We've got multiple people above 100, at or above 100% turn meter. Some mystery turn meter numbers. We're not quite sure. So for example here, because we got turn meter increased 20% from Lazarius, and he pushed them back 20%, it's possible that maybe my Marius or my... Probably not. My Marius might be faster than his Arbiter. I think not. Probably not. Because if his Arbiter was faster than my... was able to take a turn before 400 speed Armands, and my Marius at 300 speed, even with the 20% push back and 20% boost, she should still be ahead. One thing, actually, with extra turns, so like this, you can see Fabian with his extra turn, no tick is happening. It's happening on the same tick. So, for example, his Ninja didn't gain any turn meter. But now, we're about to take a turn. Let's just petrify his Arbiter, but then we should move on to the next tick. So, for example, his when someone takes their next turn, Ninja should get, well, everyone should get a little bit of turn meter. So there we go. In fact, okay, what happened right there? We saw two visual ticks were displayed to us, possibly more than, no, I guess it just has been 2 ticks. So his Arbiter actually won the turn meter race. We had 1 tick of turn meter on Ninja, and on everyone. Everyone gets it, but Ninja had a small turn meter bar, so it was easiest one to visualize. She missed her turn because she was petrified. Another tick happens, and now Marius, he's ready to take his turn at whatever turn meter he was. And at this point, his Kaimar is well above 100%. My Nice is well above 100%. Who's going to win? I don't know. But yeah, you can see again, Marius takes his turn. His Arbiter's gained some turn meter just from her speed. She's gained a lot. His Ninja gained even more. We can take a turn here. So again, we're going to have 1 tick when either one of these goes. My Nice is faster now, so he takes a turn. Let's just A1 him. And yeah, then we're going to, again, you can see us cycling through the different ticks. So that's sort of what's going on there. But yeah, what does this mean? So long story short, what does this actually mean? And again, hopefully I've understood it correctly. As I said, point number 1, it's very complicated. What's going on with turn meter is very complicated. This is my best understanding after trying to research it because of Kroz over the last week. One thing that's happening for sure is that a lot of turn meter is wasted. I mean, let's put it in quotation marks, is wasted by overflowing well above 100%. Pretty regular. I mean, we just saw from this arena fight right here. We just saw it from the faction war fight as well. It's very common these days for champions to overflow turn meter well above 100%. And I think as the game is getting older and power creep is happening, basically we're getting more and more speed. So number one, we're getting mythical gear now. We've got stronger speed glyphs now. We're having more commonly champions with higher base speeds, potentially stronger speed auras, relics giving speed, everything, right? I think, in my opinion, the turn meter system is starting to struggle a little bit. So, for example, I think the Kroz is a perfect example of it. Going back to the Kroz example, it seems like Kroz on paper, and indeed I asked Plarium and they said yes, Kroz is supposed to work like Nishak. He's supposed to place his bombs and then basically go straight away and lower their duration. And there's no reason why he shouldn't work just like Nishak. Nishak's a couple of years old at this point. Why shouldn't the newest bomber in the game basically do what Nishak does? That's what he's supposed to do, but he doesn't. Why? Because, number one, I'm actually not sure if he is gaining in this situation. I don't know if he is gaining 125% turn meter. I suspect he might be only gaining 100%. Either way, clearly in this situation, it doesn't matter. Even, let's say, worst case, let's say I'm right, and he is only getting the 100%. It's not going above that. 100% turn meter is nowhere near enough to take a turn. And now you can perhaps understand what happens. Kroz, about to gain 100% turn meter, and now it becomes clear why by the time Kroz gets to a second turn, the Gurgo is basically back to a second turn as well. And the enemy R base is almost up to her second turn as well. It's because the game is happening in ticks. Turn meter is not filling steadily. The game doesn't steadily fill and pause. As soon as someone hits 100%, it doesn't pause. The game is going up in ticks. You're gaining turn meter based off your speed, so it's possible to go well above 100%. It actually happens all the time now that champions are going above 100% turn meter, but a tick still happens. So yeah, you can see by the time Kroz has got to a second turn, the enemy R base has not only taken a turn, she's almost up to her second. This is why, and it's a huge problem with Kroz. Okay, final thing, I suppose, is how do we fix it? Here's the thing. If you change turn meter, by the way, to be the simple thing, to be like, okay, you know what? You get 100% turn meter. The game pauses, you take a turn. It's basically impossible. They'd have to rework the entire game to make this happen. That's not an easy fix. The game is built off of turn meter filling based off of ticks, and people going above 100% is super easy to happen. You know, actually, one implication of this, by the way, as well, is that as people are getting more and more speed, it also means that turn meter boost champions are getting relatively weaker, I suppose you might say, because, you know, like Arbiter's 30% turn meter boost when the game launched is not as good as Arbiter's 30% turn meter boost now, because champions are just getting more turn meter per tick, right? You just couldn't build this, like, back in, like, 300 speed, back when you initially got Arbiter in the game, like in 2020 or whatever, 300 speed was extremely high, whereas these days, it might be 500 speed, right? The turn meter that you're getting per tick is just way higher proportionate to where it was then. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, they just, to rework it to work like this, to work like the Dragonair example, which I think is pretty intuitive, would require completely reworking the game, and would basically totally change how almost, you can see how frequently we're going above 100% turn meter, right? It would totally break the game. But it would break, like, every team in the game would be drastically changing how it works if it paused the game when someone hit 100% turn meter and they took a turn. So I don't think it would be easy to change it. I think it's basically not going to happen. It would require completely rebuilding the game from the bottom up to stop going above 100% turn meter. What I would like to see change, I do think, in the case of Kroz, I think it's a relatively... Oh, we're still in this fight. Whoop. Let's just finish that off in a second. I think to fix the Kroz problem is relatively simple. It's number one, you could, for example, give him 25% turn meter per bomb that he places. So if he places 8 bombs, he's getting 200% turn meter. And let him go above 100% turn meter. If he's not currently going above it, let him go above 100% on the A2, so that effectively he could almost guarantee getting a turn off of this A2, so we could then reduce the detonation. It's pretty easy to fix him to work like Gizmak. Or let's say, okay, if you place at least, I don't know, place at least 6 bombs with his A2, he will get an extra turn. It will just overwrite this. That could work as well. Um, so I think it's pretty easy to fix Kroz, and I think that's the most likely thing to fix. I would also suggest that uh, something they could certainly do would be to consider displaying the overfill turn meter bar. That would make the game a lot more intuitive. They could also potentially show every tick that's happening. Again, I'd say that would require quite a big rework to how the game works. I think the easiest would probably be to have a bar displaying your overfill turn meter and showing it go up, and you'd have a much better idea of who's actually going when. I am a big fan of clarity in the game. I think there's a big lack of clarity with multiple things in the game right now. Turn meter, again, let me know in the comments. Did you learn something from this? Let me know if I'm wrong about anything as well, because like easily could be. This is my best understanding. But yeah, I think that there is a, a hidden overfill turn meter bar that probably shouldn't be hidden. And yeah, it's there's a bunch of weird stuff happening that you're not really totally aware of in the game. And these are some examples. So there you go. I think that I've probably solved the problem of why Kroz's A2 is not working as it seems. Not only figured out why it's happening, but also I think given a couple of easy fix solutions to make it actually work. Without having to rewrite the entire game and all the rest. It's also, by the way, why with like the old school, if you guys remember old school clan boss speed tunes, like, you know, these old unkillable teams, like if you changed whatever, a man-eater speed by a couple of things, it could completely break a speed tune. That's why. It's because these speed tunes are really manipulating turn meters overfilling, and then you boost it past and you cut in, like especially with big turn meter boosts like Seeker. There's a lot of weird shit happening with it. Like, it's actually insane that people were able to work out this stuff. There's so much very complicated maths happening behind the scenes to manipulate Demon Lord speed tunes like this. That's another example of where shit is crazy. Yeah, that's all I've got. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of turn meter right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, there you go. This has been Turn Meter 101 with Nub. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.